fellow faculty members from different colleges, universities who are participating on the refresher course in environmental studies on 21st century environmental issues, challenges, and solutions. So, in my session, I will be discussing about a very pertinent issue that can be considered as one of the solutions or one of the proposed measures to address the environmental issues of the 21st century, and that is environmental education and how it is important for social well-being, how environmental education is given, what all does it encompasses, what is the importance of environmental education in present day scenario, and how we can address the well-being of the society as a whole with imparting environmental education in our curriculum, in our schools, colleges, universities, and so on. So I begin my talk first of all with explaining you that what is well-being. We use this term very often, and conventionally it is said that well-being is your social well-being or your financial well-being or your physical well-being that amounts to your health and other things. But ultimately we must have to ask ourselves in the present day scenario where we know that environmental degradation has crossed all limits. We are in a crisis kind of a situation. What actually do we want for the planet and for our happiness? That is very most important. And so various relationships which have existed in the past, they have actually been redefined in today's scenario. Conventional well-being, as it has been thought and it has been discussed for a very long years of research and studies, that first of all, if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and well-being, you will come to know that physical well-being is the most important, or you can say prime concern, in which we crave for the healthy living. We want to keep ourselves healthy, and we also want to have a positive outlook, and also it is a, you can say, a combination of the cognitive or the emotional domain. But along with that, as we have progressed and as we have industrialized, we very well know that there is an importance of financial well-being also. How well we are in a position to acquire the wealth, acquire the services which are outside in the materialistic world. How emotionally fit we are, that is the emotional well-being, and how mentally we are able to take the decisions, we are able to progress well in our life, we are able to perform intellectually. That constitutes our mental well-being, our decision making, our relationships. So all these are the conventional forms of well-being which have been defined by scholars since times immemorial. But another thing which goes hand in hand with the well-being is the concept and the phenomena of needs. We know what do we want, as you know, we what do we need? We need water, we need air, we need a house to live in, we need clothes. These are the basic needs that human beings aspire for. And when these needs are met, we say that we are in a state of well-being, we have all what we want. And you know what is the difference between needs and wants? Needs are our basic needs, which are essential for our survival. Our central nervous system immediately reacts when our needs are not met properly. When we are hungry, we know that we have to eat the food. That is our need. When we are thirsty, we want water. But wants, on the other hand, is something which are one step ahead than the needs. If I'm hungry, I need food. But if I am well off, I may choose that what do I want to eat. That is my want. That what place, what city I want to settle in, what kind of house I want to live in. So that is the wants. So if we talk about the well-being, our satisfaction, our needs fulfillment, our wants fulfillment, our desires fulfillment constitutes an important part of our well-being. But then another term which we use synonymously with well-being is wellness. You must have heard about it. Many people must be knowing about wellness. So wellness is a process. The 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 journey towards the well-being is wellness. What kind of decisions you make, what kind of choice you make between the healthy eating, healthy lifestyles, exercising, and what all may be constituting the components of the state of well-being. Okay, so wellness is a process. On the other hand, well being is a state. It's a state which is considered to be a state of destination where we are arriving through numerous trajectories of path which we are following, what we are eating, how we are living, how we are commuting, what kind of work we are doing, what is our thought process, what is our mental frame of mind, what is our attitude, our relationships. So these are, these are all the facets of the wellness which take us to the well-being. So as it has been earlier also, we were saying that well-being is a combination of cognitive and emotional domains. So uh, uh, it states, it clearly explains that how my well-being is associated with how well do I do cognitively and how emotionally balanced I am, what kind of state of affairs are there in my mind. So these are, something why I want to begin this talking about the environment and environmental education is that first of all, it is very much essential for us to know that what is well-being. If I'm talking about social well-being and I want to discuss that what is environmental education at all has to do with the social well-being, I must first of all understand that what is the meaning of well-being, what does it imprise of, when I be in a state of well-being and when I will not be in the state of well-being. So it is very much essential that what are the components of well-being that we take into consideration before discussing about that what can influence our well-being and so on and so forth. So another important dimension I would just like to say that our state of well-being depends upon the positive psychology and sustainability. We'll be talking in length about sustainability and sustainable development and under the umbrella of environmental education. But we must understand that what is positive psychology and what is sustainability and why do they are considered to be, you can say, the base of well-being of society, of environment also. So when I say positive well-being or positive psychology, it means individual well-being. How individually I am living, how individually I am making efforts for the well-being of myself. So what kind of care I'm taking for my own health? How do I perceive the outside world? What kind of mental attitude, what kind of feelings for others, what kind of empathy, sympathy, all these kind of things, that is the positive psychology. And positive psychology is individualistic. Now in certain instances it has been made clear that many a times it happens that positive psychology and caring for the self may come at the expense of caring at the expense of neglect of others, maybe in certain circumstances, or it may come at the expense of the environment and the conditions of the environment what we are seeing today. So, for our well being, we may have the long list of desires and long list of materials actually, the consumption from the outside resources. But now this is coming at the expense of others. It is coming at the expense of the surroundings, of the environment. So, that is why we propose the sustainability. Another important component of well-being is sustainability, which is quite holistic. It is systematic well-being. It is the well-being of the self, of the communities, of the people in the different stratas of the environment, of the different components of the environment, and that will constitute the long-term, or you can say sustainable well-being of society as a whole. So we were talking about social well-being and what does it mean? Because up till now we were discussing about how individually and what decides my own well-being. But as a society, if we look, social well-being is a function of being, having, and doing. Now you just take uh, these, you can say these perspectives one by one. Being is a state of the qualities, qualities of individuals, qualities of communities. Now, by quality, we mean that maybe the qualities reflecting our personalities, or qualities as a work that we are doing. So what qualities as a individual, and what qualities as a communities are there? So what is the social makeup of the communities? That is the state of being. Another state of being is having. What do we have? Society. Now just think about the society, the community, the country, the region as a whole, and then think of what is the meaning of having. Technology plays an important role. Infrastructure plays an important role. Medical facilities, job opportunities, educational level, societal makeup, safety of the people, regulatory features, to law and order. This is the meaning of having. What all do we have as a society? What is there to support us? So the whole makeup of being and having tells us about the, you can just think, take as an example of yourself or communities where we are living, the societies where we are living, and then you will be able to better understand this thing, that I may be having good house, I may be having good approach, but if there is not a good qualities of myself, that is not going to help me much. And another important function is doing. What all activities we are involved in, what we are doing, whether the activities are detrimental to the environment as a whole, or are we having a, you can say, partnership, collaboration, mutualistic understanding. So this is the whole fabric of the social well-being, or you can say how the society functions. Normally it is governed by the state of the affairs, or the quality of the individuals, communities, the whole infrastructure, the whole social setup, which consists of the physical as well as the other amenities which we call in today's scenario, and what the people are engaged in, whether they are engaged in fruitful productive activities, or whether they have no opportunities of working outside. So if at all we all there, this decides the state of well-being of the society as a whole, which we call as social well-being. Now, talking about sustainability, there's a lot of hue and cry about the sustainability. We know that sustainability is everywhere. We, in today's times, we are discussing about sustainability. We know that it is very much important for our survival, but talking about the meaning of sustainability in true sense, it is an environmental policy. It looks beyond the environment conservation and the importance of environmental protection, but also takes into account the economic development, the social development, and also one of the important component of sustainability is taking care of the needs of the future generations. This is something very important. So when we talk about sustainability, we must focus all our attention also towards the society, the nature of the society, the social progress, and also economic development, which is also, which is one of the important, you can say, means for our personal growth, our country's growth, and so on. So sustainability, you can say, it is a way of life for the coming times, where we will be able to, and we aim that we will be in a position to have a balance between the economic growth, social development, and also environmental protection in the same manner. Because in many examples, in many situations, we feel that environmental protection and other activities do not go hand in hand at various circumstances. So it is believed that if we have to go for development, we have to pay the price of the environment. So for the common people around, this type of myths and this type of miscommunications coming from the various, you can say, coming from the various bodies should be checked. Because what happens is that many times we fail to have that kind of a balance. We accord at some places importance to one, and neglect of the other domain. However, for the social well-being and for the sustainability, it is very essential that we place and we give equal importance to all the three pillars, to all the three domains which are there. Now, sustainable development the term is used most of the times, it is used synonymously with sustainability, but we must understand that when we talk about sustainability, mm, we generally give more importance to the environment, conservation of the natural resources, and continuation of the life support systems for the times to come. But when we talk about sustainable development, however, the term development, that takes a more weightage, you can say. So it is more about developing, improving economic progress, but along with that, taking care of the resources of the nature also. However, the term sustainable development is still very vague. It is still not clear. It has a number of interpretations by the people. It is considered to be all good, where everything is good. It is considered to be the panacea of all the environmental problems that we are having today. So we have to understand the term very properly, and it needs lot of understanding and lot of dialogue sharing about the meaning and true sense and the objectives. However, in today's scenario, what we are observing today is that the type of the growth models we have adapted, they are neither sustainable nor they are leading to any kind of development, because this is altogether a different topic of discussion, to see that what works in the West may not work in our country. So, but just here to explain you that what is the meaning and how do these terms refer, because ultimately, when we'll be discussing about environmental education, these terms, they become very important, and the clarity kind of is very much essential to understand that what is the meaning of sustainable development. And another thing that we are talking about well-being, and we just discussed about the needs also. You must be knowing and you must have heard about the definition of sustainable development, and that clearly states that meeting the needs of the present without compromising. uh, so that clearly explains. So what we were talking, so if you look at the definition of the sustainable development, it clearly says that it meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So time and again we are talking about the needs, and you must understand that what all talk about sustainability and sustainable development is there, it underlines the fulfillment of the needs. And we know, we have discussed that the fulfillment of the needs clearly directly relates to well-being. So satisfying of the basic human needs is the core of the development. It is the core of the development of sustainable development and sustainability. So we must understand that our basic needs of food, air, water, shelter, how do they relate to sustainability? In the present circumstances, where neither the air is pure nor the water, we don't have place to live, we have toxic and chemical in our soils, in our food, everywhere we are seeing all these scenarios. So these are the basic needs of us. Now, we need clean water, which will not be there. Billions of people are still deprived of uh, access. They don't have access to clean water. Air is polluted. So how can we ensure the sustainability of our basic needs? So that will come with, of course, understanding about the different processes, and also thinking about the environment protection and taking all measures to see that how we are uh, getting all the basic needs without depleting the nature and the components of the nature. So sustainable well-being is human needs, which are uh, you know uh, including a lot of wants also in today's times, because in the COVID times we have seen that internet is a need for the well-to-do people. So the list smartphone is a need. So the needs keep on changing with time. These needs are not the same which were there some 100 years ago or 50 years ago also. Societal needs have changed. The type of society we live in, the type of working class, the type of people who are working, that has changed, and environmental needs. So they are interrelated and interactive. That is something which we must understand. So satisfaction of one need must not lead to the deprivation of some other person to meet his or her needs. So these needs are related to each other, and that is why we call them sustainable well-being. So when I aspire for sustainable well-being, which is going to last forever, which will be always there, the state of affairs with all the needs and wants are fulfilled. So that uh, that includes actually satisfaction of human needs, society needs, and the needs of the environment also, because somewhere the needs of the society may interfere with the needs of the environment. And it happens in most of the cases. What we have seen, what kind of development and what kind of work which we have seen in the past few years, that is actually a conflicting interest between the needs of the environment and needs of the society. So the environment may need no disturbance to the forests, but the needs of the society to have the kind of a plantation removed and going for agriculture, that may be the need of the society. Requirement of more land, requirement of more forest food produced, and also the needs of the humans. So balance is required between the different needs of the people, society, and the environment as a whole. That is very, very essential. Now, how do we promote this thing? This is something uh, uh, which has a question mark. We know all the good things, that how the ideal situation should be, that our needs as a human being of living a luxurious life, of having a four-wheeler at our own disposal, of eating good, flying most of the time. So that may be my need. I want to save time. I want to fly most of the times. Society needs are different and environmental needs are different. But then, getting to a point where we say that yes, sustainable well-being, how do we ensure that? How is it possible to see that we have all the types of needs met? So there are different levels. The different type of measures are required at different platforms, different status. So one of the important level is the policy level. Policy level means at the decision making level, where the planners, policymakers, program developers, legal, regulatory authorities, the change and shift in the policies is required to see that the sustainability is ensured in our services, in our different activities. So that is the policy level intervention which is required, whether to introduce cleaner fuels, whether to promote fewer fuels, whether to ban plastic at all, whether to have more stringent norms on mobility of the people, more stringent environmental impact assessment systems. So these are some of the policy level changes which are required. Another approach may be psychological level. Psychological level means taking about the psychology of the people, introduction of the terms such as ethics, to see that we share the planet with all the other creatures who are inhabiting it. So, a kind of an ethics to see that we are not just the masters of the earth and the various resources, but we are a part of it. So, that is addressing the psychological issues of the people, so that while they are in whatever the occupations they are indulged in, the businesses they are doing in, they are able to see and change their psychology with respect to the efforts for the environment and also for the sustainability. So that is at the work of the psychology. Another important aspect is educational level, and that is what our main concern is today. How to educate? Educate is change in behavior. Passing on the information which leads to change in behavior. That is the education level. How can we educate the people of different class, different masses, belonging to different areas? What efforts can be made towards improving the reach towards education, and how our courses, our curriculum, that can be changed, and it is made in such a way that it caters to the needs of sustainability and environment protection in the long run. So now we are talking about the education level and how education is vital for sustainability. So that is most important thing. We belong to the education fraternity, teaching fraternity. We know the importance of education in bringing about a mass movement that we have already seen in the past, which has occurred. It is a most important tool. It is a most important weapon. If it if we just discuss about education, there is a role of research, training, and community engagement. That is what the work of the colleges and the universities is there. We need to bring in some hardcore research towards addressing the issues related to food security, access to water, energy crisis, climate change, biodiversity loss. Lot of uh, things, critical areas which are there, which need immediate solutions. There's a role of research. Teaching is an important activity. We pass on the information what we have learned, generating awareness, telling about all these issues to the young students, and community engagement. Not just um, going through the formal methods of uh, books, curriculum, exam, but also engaging with the communities. Those who are not so lucky to attend schools and colleges, they are a part of our workers, service providers, constituting the community, engaging with them, telling them about the different issues. That is something which is required in the present scenario. And NEP 2020 clearly makes and distinguishes the importance of research, teaching, and community goals, 17 goals, which are proposed to be met by 2030. It is not possible to achieve sustainable development goals without higher education and research. It is very much required. Local research, innovative methods, techniques, technological development, these are some of the, you can say, these are some of the tools which can help us to fight the challenges of sustainability and sustainable development, and they all come under the umbrella of environmental education and sustainable development goal 4 particularly, because we are talking about education and a part of education is environmental education. We must know that sustainable development goal 4, it talks about quality. Sustainable development goal 4 talks about quality education, which aims to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So if we see the different targets under this goal, we see there is a provision for affordable education, vocational education, inclusive education, online education. How we are going to see that this goal, with the help of the different provisions and targets, how we can embed environmental education also in it, and we are able to see that this education is imparted among our masses, among the students, so that there is a fruitful change in the behavior of the people towards environment and towards environmental conservation. This is something which is very important. We really have to make a dent. We really have to think that how we can provide quality and inclusive education to our people with particular reference to environment and environmental education.